Red alert. Set an intention. Go to Salon Trek.
Captain's log supplemental. Commander Chakotay was injured. But I want you to know, you can use logic to justify almost anything. Janeway out.
Ahoy, hoy, friends, and welcome to the Salon. I am the reconstituted proto-matter that is your host, Stan Williams, coming to you live after a 3-night, 500,000-person festival of futuristic light bringers. And listen, getting from that to Star Trek, it's not quite the journey you'd think it is. So let's get into it. But before we do, all the podcast things, imagine strobing lights here. We are live just a little bit after 6:30 p.m. Pacific on a Tuesday for the last time until we need to do it again. But starting next week, we will be back on our regular Thursday bullshit, 6:30 p.m. Pacific at Salon Trek on YouTube. All of the podcast places the next day at Salon Trek, and on socials, you guessed it, at Salon Trek, except you're wrong if you're on Instagram. There it's at the Salon Trek. We are also on Patreon if you'd like to throw a couple of dollars our way to get some fun benefits, including some hilarious bonus episodes in which I may or may not be inebriated. And depending on which month it is, there's a different level of inebriation. Me and Beverly Crusher. You know what? I'm not going to say I have a problem because I don't abuse my alcohol. I enjoy it and I care for it and I love it. It's all about love, y'all. That's what this season's about. That's what this show is about. That's what this franchise is about. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And you know who else knows what I'm talking about? My co-host, Trevor. How you doing, number one?
Seasons of love.
Indeed. Trevor, your executive officer duties are going to be of paramount today. As I warned you weeks ago, I have indeed confirmed that coming back to do a podcast after a 5-day trip, 3 of those being overnights at a 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. music festival, tends to take you out of it. In fact, it's taking me so far out of it that this is what the podcast has apparently become. I should be transitioning into beaming more of our crew on board, and yet I'm
Probably
stammering.
Probably.
Speaking of probably, he's shaking his hand, so he gets to come on board first. Here's Matt Ricks. How you doing, bitch?
I'm doing so good, Trev. I would like to support a small mutiny if anyone else would like to take control of the ship.
Thank you so much for coming. And here's Joanne. How are you, darling?
Clearly better than Matt, right?
That's not hard.
Through no fault of his own.
Listen, I can't let it go. It was the last thing I heard. Speaking of better than Matt, here's Krista. better than most of us. Better than most of us. Let's be real.
I mean,
myself included.
Unfair comparison.
Thank you.
The bar's so low for Krista in that. Like, she's better than that.
And speaking of the lowest bar, here's
Hey, you know what? If you have no expectations, you're never disappointed, baby. That's what I'm saying.
That's right, bitch. That is
right.
If
you come with the bare minimum, no one's going to expect anything more of you. I think I got this far. Please.
Yeah. Working for an incredibly storied top tier university.
You do bare minimum as soon as you rise above, even mildly. People are like handing you shit. I'm weaponizing my white maleness. Sorry.
Oh, academia is wonderful.
Can't stop me.
Speaking of bare minimum, Stan.
Let's talk about Star Trek Voyager. We are doing a thumb war for season 4. Thank you, Trevor. As you may or may not recall, a thumb war is where Trevor will read a pretty bad synopsis that he did not write. We will discuss the episode and then we will vote in the most scientific method with our thumbs. Little teaser for one of the best episodes in this series that we'll be talking about later. But before we do, You all know what we must do. We simply must set an intention.
This is obvious, but don't forget to set an intention when you light it, or you're just going to be wasting the wax.
Indeed, we must. Perhaps today more than ever. To set an intention tonight, I thought it would be fun if we went around the room and fucked around with the episode The Gifts. In that episode, Kess gifts Voyager a 10-year shortcut. I'd like to know what you all think Kess should have given Voyager instead. So we're going to re-gift, alternate gift, change the gifts. We're going to actually move me to the bottom corner first, and then we're going to go around the room. There we go. I just like to be in a place for everything and everything in its place. Listen, it's all good. I will start us off, as I always do, and share, based on feedback from Will, I think Kess should have gifted the Voyager some sex. There's no sex in this series, and there needed to be more sex. And so, yeah, I think they're gonna all get it on, and I think it starts with Tom and Harry, what was it, Tom, Dick, and Harry, and it goes from there. So yeah, that's my answer, and I'm sticking to it. Krista, what do you think Kess should have gifted the Voyager instead of their 10-year shortcut?
Well, my popular answer is the first thing I thought of, which was porn. Going along with the sex, like porn. The fuck is wrong with these people? But my less popular answer is sending 7 of 9 back to the Borg. Oh. I don't care.
You'll probably like her more later, but I get it. Will.
Yeah, I mean, the easiest answer is to say for her to have taken Neelix with them, with her. But I was gonna say, I mean, like drop like a transwarp drive. Like, here you go, bye. Like, give them something, you know. Instead of, we moved you 10 years ahead, I would have given him something that could have gotten him home in 2 months. But that's just me. But yeah, I mean, the fun answer is Neelix disappears too. But like, just
they both would have made the show. Yeah, they both would have made the show exponentially better. I get it.
Sure.
Sure. Joanne.
Maybe an actual ship's counselor, and
Yo.
and a fucking chef, like for real, the ultimate shade on Neelix. Somebody who can actually cook. How about that?
Somebody whose cheese doesn't need to go to sickbay. I love it. Matt, what say you?
I was trying to think of something because everyone covered all the stuff that I would have. But Joanne, you just made me think of something that ties in to another, not franchise, but series. She should have just gifted him another copy of Will Riker as the chef and counselor, like as seen in the ending of Enterprise.
Oh no, not a holographic Will Riker.
She should have pulled him out of the end of Enterprise and put him on Voyager instead, and it still would have made more sense.
And it would have also addressed the sex.
And it would have given sex. Everyone would be fucking the chef.
I was just going to say, Joanne will fully support a holographic Will Riker in any incarnation.
Oh, this is the real. This is like Q level, like duplicate. We get Will Riker, then you get a little understory there too, or Thomas Riker, and then you get understory. You know,
girl.
To go with Seven's underboob.
Exactly, and he has his fingers in everyone's pot.
That's fair. I can't. Staniel.
I also said gifting Neelix to the Borg. We come in, or we are the Borg. Nice to meet you. But I think in honor of the actress, in honor of the character and what they had to go through, I actually have a series of gifts almost one for everybody, but I think a souvenir from their travels. So I'm going to have her give Chakotay the Vidian phage. I'm going to have her give Janeway the sexual memories from Remember. I'm going to have her give Neelix some Kazon hair. Tuvok is going to get to have Lon Suitor back as a mind meld buddy. Maybe for Harry, maybe this is for Tom, the other Harry Kim from Deadlock. And then I don't have one for B'Elanna. I think just nothing for B'Elanna except a day off.
I was going to say
getting a day
vacation.
off.
I was going to say maybe a new warp core. She'll need that later.
Oh, a secondary warp core, so that on her day of honor, she doesn't have to be too worried about the other one.
Oh, you meant an actual warp core? Sorry.
Well, they both vibrate. Also, let's talk about the warp core. That's what this is about. The original pink warp core was better than the blue one. I said it. I said what I said.
Oh, where it was kind of like pinky purpley, and then it became bluer. Yeah.
Season
you're
1
not
and
wrong. 2. Yeah.
Well, the intentions are set, y'all, and I think we've got to launch some torpedoes in the shape of our thumbs. Trevor, take away this thumb war.
I would be happy to initiate this season, the series-altering thumb war as we begin season 4. Star Trek Voyager, season 4, episode 1, Scorpion, part 2. The ship remains on red alert after Janeway and the Borg Collective agree to fight the destructive species 8472. That's it. Nothing else happens. Just that. Just they're at red alert and they're ready to. God damn it, Google. William, you began our conversation about Scorpion Part 1. I think it's only fitting that you kick off the second half.
Yes. Thank you so much. Because I always finish. I in rewatching this, I think this week, because I started with Scorpion Part 1 into Part 2, just because I love these episodes so much. This, I think, in the world, and we discussed this at nauseum in different shades and colors on the podcast, but the Star Trek doesn't always land two-parters. The second part kind of fizzles out. They're really trying to wrap things up. Like they feel rushed. They feel burdened with concluding a story. This is the first time I feel like we've gotten a two-parter that I feel like was kind of encapsulated a whole story. That the interpersonal issues with Chakotay and Janeway, the kind of desperation that they have, like Kate Mulgrew gives kind of a quiet desperation through this, where it's more about saving the crew than it is like helping the Borg. Like she's justifying what she's doing, but if she just said like, I'm doing this to save us, like we have to, like there's this captain-y thing where it's like, for the greater good, I'm doing this thing. This is the greater threat. The enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of thing. That like but the way it's framed, her performance is very interesting and layered. Anyway, it's one of the few episodes I really like Chakotay in this. Like, I think what he's done is justified. I think it's misinformed, but I think what he's done is a justified response. I'm slightly annoyed by, I love this episode. I was slightly annoyed by 709's performance. Just because she's like angry and like pissed the whole time, and it's like she wouldn't be as a Borg, like a drone at that point. Anyway, but yeah, I think I honestly loved this episode. I think it's great. I think the stakes keep staking, and everything. There's nitpicky bullshit, but like overall, I think as a two-parter, I think this is one of the few times Star Trek lands the ending. Anyone else?
As the chronic two-parter complainer of the group, this one lands in a very special place because it's unusual that part 2 is better than part 1, in my opinion, and I feel like this part 2 works better. I wish the Chakotay disagreeing with the strategy had begun had begun in part 1, and because that piece feels rushed, which I think does a disservice to his push back on her as an effective first officer and doing what he thinks is right, and then she's incapacitated. Like that all happens so quickly that it takes away a little bit of the muscle of the story. I do like the way that I like the way it frames Janeway's leadership style. Mulgrew crushes it as always. And yeah, if this episode was all I knew of Jerry Ryan's 7 of 9, I would be like, wait, we traded who for what now? Because it's a rough beginning. But of course, knowing that there was, I don't know how much of the behind the scenes stuff had already started, but like knowing that there's so much tension behind the scenes, I can imagine it was not an easy arrival anyway. But yeah, overall, I enjoyed the story despite my lack of fondness for Species 8472, and despite my kind of annoyance at the pace of the episode. Krista, then Matt.
I one part of this, I agree that the second part was better than the first part, and I like Janeway in this. And the one thing that really kind of bothered me was when, Chipotle pulls out his, fur basket of parables and tells her about the scorpion story. I really wanted for her to look at him and say, why are you assuming I'm not the scorpion? Like, why are you not automatically associating me with the scorpion? Because I really feel like up to this point, she's shown that, she's not a pushover. And she can kind of be as duplicitous. Certainly in this instance, she's very duplicitous, very rationalizing, very the means justify the ends justify the means. And I really think they sort of failed a little bit by not doing the foreshadowing of her really, in a situation, she'll go diplomacy, but if that fails, she's like, hand me a fucking gun. I'm in it. And that makes her more inclined to be a scorpion to me. And it really irritated me that, they gave him this scene where this is supposed to be some, wisdom drop. And I'm just like, I really wish she had just said, I'm not the scorpion in this scenario. How wrong you are. That's it. That's all.
Chipotle. Matt.
I did, Norman.
See, okay, I totally get where you're coming from, Krista. However, I do love the parable like throughout the whole thing. Like, to me, it and maybe it's because like I had a similar, I based like a whole story. I had an ex, and like I was like, this guy's gonna try to break us up, and I was like, and my code word is scorpion, because when I see it happening, I'm gonna say it. And it happened, and I was like, scorpion, and my ex was like, heard, still ignoring you and cheating on you. But I really do, yeah, it's a whole story. But I like this episode really shows different facets of so many of them, and I think that's why it's so good, because we finally get to see, obviously we see Janeway's tenacity throughout the whole thing. We get to really tee up Janeway being okay, CDR trap. I don't need called out in the chat like that I just look up.
When you're currently speaking, you don't even need to be looking at the chat.
I didn't mean to derail you. I'm sorry. It was just too easy. You gave it to me, and I was like, I can't not.
Yeah, okay.
I'm a scorpion.
Anyway.
I can't. It's my nature.
Also, I'm sorry that I was paying attention to our fans engaging with us, except it wasn't
one thing at a time, which is
really.
Wait,
you want to talk about one thing at a time tonight?
I heard it immediately, cunts. All right, I heard it.
I'm gonna say, wait, okay, back on track. I want to say I loved that we got to see different sides of everybody. We got to see the cube sacrifice itself, and we get to tee up this whole like, oh, are the Borg actually helping? Like, what's gonna happen? And we get like this. I think it's a really good payoff. I do really want to say, and Krista, this is to your point and to everyone else's. Jerry Ryan doesn't really become 7 of 9 until midway through season 5. It's rough. She starts out rough. It's not a good look. It's not good acting. I'm just gonna say that. And she is one of my favorite people in the Star Trek universe. I don't think she knew what to do with it. I think she was battling producers and battling Kate Mulgrew verbally and physically on set, and then we finally get past that and she gets to become what she really is. Rough. Later. So
also producers were doing other things with her that they shouldn't have been doing that probably did not help matters.
She was stupping a producer. Yeah, that was.
I would put it the other way around given the power dynamic, but yes.
Yes, you're right. I want to give her the credit that,
Yeah.
But but Mulgrew did ask, "But are you in love?"
Not
Are you in love?
been slightly surprised to hear that at all.
Yeah.
Jennifer.
Not a smidge. Not a smidge.
Scorpion. This is a good kickoff to a season. We talked about the change in cast last week. I'll talk about it again in the next episode, but I think some of the early season best aspects, like when Chakotay and Janeway disagree, especially in season 1, when he's like, I'm not going to just be your token Maquis. Those elements really helped this episode. And I'm torn about 7 of 9's introduction. Just because up until this point, we have one person who was Borg for a couple of days to figure out how to act that. And given that she was there since she was a small child, we're going to learn more about her. I can't imagine the acting challenge that trying to figure that out would be. But I agree, it was a rough start.
Although a stunning visual.
Yeah.
The stuff bursting off and the smoke and the only thing that's weird is why did she have to, I mean, we know why, but why did she have to be so over sexualized as a Borg?
Immediately.
I understood post the attempted explanation of the outfit being utilitarian, which no, it's not. But her not thinking about how she outwardly projects herself because she was Borg and doesn't. But as a drone, she was ridiculously hot, and that didn't make any sense whatsoever. We never saw smoking hot drones. It was just never a thing.
Well, speak for yourself. I saw a few in iBorg. No.
Also, what a dig to the beautiful, lovely member of our community. He was.
Oh.
But he wasn't. But he didn't walk out with a mechanical arm in a Speedo and nothing else. He could have, but he didn't. He was wearing a very.
That was Picard.
That butt was still good in that. Butt was still good in that platform.
You know what? Krista clocked it. That
was Picard in a Speedo.
There is precedent for what they did to Jerry Ryan, so we're all just prudes.
No, that was as they were deborging him.
It's not prudish. The first thing, obviously the first thing you notice is the physical makeup of the woman, and it's admirable. It's not hard to look at, but the skin suit makes no sense at all, and there other than the obvious. I need the 14-year-old boys to come back. I need the ones that live in their mother's basement. I need them to come back because we have this female captain and she never gets laid. But really the main thing that I noticed was that even down to her shoes, she was wearing high heels.
Yeah.
She's even wearing high fucking heels. She's about to climb a pole.
That are sewn into the costume. It's not a shoe.
No,
I'm saying that's worse.
It's how
she can't change them.
She can't be human. Otherwise, she's a walking yeast infection. There's no way that breathes.
No. Well, that original costume is terrible. It's not.
So
it had a built-in corset. She literally couldn't eat in it. Like it had the shoes. She couldn't take it off. Like
She couldn't sit down.
She
The
couldn't
neck
sit
was so
down
high.
in it. Yeah, the neck was too high in the corset, that the boning that they put into it. She was like frozen. And they said that there's like a story, I think, at one point where Mulgrew got mad because she wasn't eating. They're like, she hasn't eaten anything today. And it's because she couldn't because of her fucking costume. Like they change it up later. Like a couple episodes in, we see her in the purple one. But like it felt like we know why she was introduced, which is annoying because it's because they thought the ratings were slipping. It wasn't as strong as the first season. So they're like, we need to eliminate the dead weight of the cast and bring in someone who's going to be sexy, who can bring this 18 to 36-year-old demographic in. If we got a hot blonde in the cast, but like,
and give her the worst updo. Like the mismatch from downstairs to upstairs always throws me, because like it should not have happened either way, but like you're gonna give me all body and then like the weirdest updo.
It's an efficient hairstyle.
Yes.
It's out of her way. It makes sense to me. But yeah,
they should have given her slightly looser and hair.
Or
it's
a
an
boy
interesting
cut
character, an ex-Borg on this ship. Like, I think if this was handled today, it would be much different. But at the time, it feels even regressive for the mid-90s. It feels regressive.
Yeah, but even like in Star Trek Picard, she looks hot as hell, and she's wearing clothing that fits her
with pockets.
Is the best fitting fucking uniform on that.
Also,
show.
the uniform, yes,
Yeah,
but I meant season 1, yeah.
Oh well.
So it's a thumbs down for sexism, but what about for the episode? Drag it, Joanne. Drag it.
Do it.
Let it out, girl. Don't hold back.
It.
I'm just like, oh, this is peer pressure. I'll go sideways, but I didn't like it. I thought it was trash. But
that's what I do.
Do it now, girl. Do what your heart's telling you.
Yeah.
No peer pressure here, girl.
But listen, I understand when I'm being peer pressured, I also go side. Trevor, episode 2.
I gotta update my drop downs for your sideways section. Fucking on a roll. All right, whatever. Season 4, episode 2, The Gift. Kes bestows an amazing gift on the crew before transforming into a higher form of life. The Doctor removes 7 of 9's Borg technology. Sort of. Not really. No, he doesn't. Yeah. So anyway, that happens, and some other things. Stan?
Yeah. I want to say a couple of things. Number 1, fuck Rick Berman. Number 2, fuck Brennan Braga. Number 3, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. They are not responsible for Jennifer Lean's mental health troubles, the foundation of them, but putting her through sexual assault storylines, partnering her with a boyfriend monster, the character, not the actor. Ethan Phillips is wonderful, but who is 20 years older than her. Like, that did her no favors. And like, this has come up in the whole time that we've been talking about Voyager, and sometimes we joke about, like, well, it was the 90s. Like, the jokes can continue, but I just do also want to say of its time, it was the 90s, it was the 50s, like there is no time in which, I'll just use an extreme example, slavery was okay. There is no time in which the sexism that Jennifer Lean faced was okay. So it being the 90s is not a good excuse. They gave her some wonderful scenes in this episode, and she did an amazing job. If they gave her more of this kind of material, again, I don't think her mental health concerns are their fault, but I do wonder if she had more uplifting material to enjoy at her job, her 16-hour-a-day job. I wonder what could have slightly been different. I wonder if the producers had been open to learning about mental health, if they weren't such sexist assholes, how different things could have been for her. And like I said last week, like the only thing I didn't like about Scorpion was that I know that the character swap is coming. It's the same thing here. And I just wonder, there's a lot of wonderful stuff about to happen between Janeway and Seven. I can't help but feel robbed of what we could have had between Kes and Seven. That friendship, I think, could have been absolutely incredible. I think it could have been some of the best acting work for both of those actors, best scenes. Like, I could see those characters being even more people's favorites, and not having the writer's room or the producers to lean into that, to be respectful of women, particularly for your first woman captain show, is just like, I've been really taken aback on this rewatch of Voyager of just how rough it's been, because my memory of it is very different, and my memory of it isn't tainted. I'm not terribly concerned about it, but this episode in particular really bummed me out watching it again, because I know the backstory, but even without the backstory, just the character swap is unnecessary. Them together would have been wonderful. And those are my thoughts on The Gift.
William?
Rewatching this, like it makes me wish that we gotten this thing from Kes earlier. Like, if this was happening as she got older, it's like, oh, these things are happening, and like, what does that mean for her? Which is very interesting. This episode is a very ominous portent of what is to come, where every episode where it should be about a certain character is ultimately about Seven of Nine, which is kind of a bummer, because every episode kind of gets hijacked by her character, which I think is it's not Jerry Ryan's fault. It's not the character's fault. It's the writers and the people involved. That she is the more interesting character to write, but whose fault is that? Like, why does every episode now need to be about Seven of Nine? While this was the last episode of Kes, it should have been really focused on her. And the B plot being about Seven, the episode ends with Seven. It doesn't end with Kes. It ends with Seven being like hot, and then the Doctor kind of weirdly hitting on her, which is just very strange, and never understood that. But like, it's kind of a bummer. It's kind of a bummer, because I always liked Kes. I like Jennifer Lean in this, you know, outside of what the issues that she had in real life. I think that there was like a real, like, it sucks, because like the storyline that Kes could have had was kind of given to Seven of Nine. Where, like, you know, I took notes on this season, and I just wrote on this episode, Janeway gets a new hot daughter. So like, it's kind of a bummer. Like, I don't know. I miss Kes on the show. I think there was a kind of a lightness and etherealness to her character, and kind of naivete and humanistic approach that I think Jennifer Lean brought to that character, that I think kind of is missing as we move forward. Yeah, anyway, would have wished she stayed. I hope she is well wherever she is. But yeah.
Krista?
I just want to give a disclaimer, because I'm seeing a lot of comments about background and what's happening behind the scenes. I don't know any of that shit.
Yeah.
I don't need to know any of that shit. Not that I'm not reading the tea. I'm just saying, for me, watching this for the first time, I am objecting to the clear and offensive objectification of a female actress with a female body, with a being plopped in to this cast that they haven't really explored up to this point, and then sort of having to take it on the chin that everything, as Will says, suddenly becomes about her. That's got to be not a great situation. But as far as what my problem is with her, I may like her in the future. I don't fucking know. But right now, I don't like what it's giving me. I don't like the offer, and I'm offended at the attempt because it suggests I'm stupid enough to actually think this is valuable. It's not valuable. It's weirdly predatory. It's weirdly usury. It's exploitative. There are so many things that are fucking wrong with it, no matter when it happened or what was going on in the background. So I want to be very clear. When I say I don't like it, it is for that reason. It's not because I don't like Jerry Ryan or I don't like Kate Mulgrew or I don't like any of this. I'm being given a creative example. I'm critiquing the creative example, and I'm finding it wanting here now in the 4th season.
As you're saying this, it just triggered something in my mind that maybe I'm projecting on everyone else. I want everyone else to tell me if I'm right or wrong. I think one of the reasons why we all most of us love 7 of 9 as a character as much as we do, and Jerry Ryan, everything, is because of what you're going to see in her arc, because you're saying exactly what everyone else sees. You are, for the first time seeing this, you're 100% spot on the nose. Like, it's ridiculous. But where she takes this eventually, and again, we haven't gotten there. I'm not justifying it. But I think that is, in retrospect for me, one of the reasons why, where they take this character and eventually all the way through Picard. I think that's why so many people were so excited to see her growth in Picard, was to see that she did start out purely as this sex symbol that they just shoehorned in here to be tits and ass and have, that's the main focus we're doing on, and we're going to write a story. We don't give a shit about anybody else's story, anything we did. Like, she takes that and does it with such grace moving forward in the best way that she can with the writing. And I think that, like, you're absolutely right. And I think it's one of those things that we also, as people that have seen these 100,000 times, need to look back and be like, oh, right. Like, this is one of the reasons why we love her as much as we do, because of this journey. At least, yeah. At
the risk of speaking for women, and I'm not one, just want to clarify. I would imagine it will be a different experience, because it's painful to know that she performed in the way that you're describing. The character arc is 98% due to Jerry Ryan's performance, but that she had to perform in that environment is disgusting and probably more painful for female viewers than it is for male viewers. I'm just going to speculate. But yeah, because she's doing it in spite of all those things, not on behalf of any of those things. Yeah.
Her story becomes sexy women can be smart too. And it's a little annoying. Like,
until
it's like,
Star Trek Picard season 2, in which they forget she's a scientist.
But again,
right.
it's the same thing as like when what's his face told Troy to put on a uniform.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I mean, it's kind of a similar thing. Like, because that was. Yeah. I mean, it's a sad trope that kind of got carried over. It didn't get carried over really in Deep Space Nine, but
no, because Deep Space Nine was about the fucking writing.
Well, no. I mean, Neresa's
they did it a little bit
tighter. Her uniform did get tighter later on in the show,
and they gave her heels.
Yes, but I mean, like, there was, the mini skirts. Like, Yeoman Rand was very, very sexy in the show. There was always this, Troy normally wore uniform that was out of uniform. So like it's a trope that's and then T'Pol in Enterprise, it kind of carries over there too. But thank God it's not carried on past the Berman era. But like it is a little, it's funny because like on Bluesky today, someone posted a comment about how like they should have just put Jerry Ryan in a uniform. And like I put on there, I was like, this is like a regular bit of discussion where like I knew this was going to be something we're going to bump up against, because it's like there's always been like kind of an underlying, I wouldn't say sexuality, but like sensuality to Star Trek. Like, it's been in there from the 60s. I mean, like the motion picture is like one of the like most like sensual movies. They literally go into a giant vagina at some point. So like it's like there's a there's a lot of sensuality to Star Trek, but
There's
like
a lot of
this
balls in
feels
that, too.
weird.
Yes.
Right. This feels weird
See,
because
do
it's
it both
very-
ways.
Yes.
Thank you. The ship is a
Objectify
giant
everyone
penis.
is
The
what
ship
we're
is a
saying.
giant.
I think.
Deidre's a giant penis, but like
Yeah.
but this feels weird because Jerry Ryan in 7 of 9 is kind of set up, and we'll see it later in the season. What 2 episodes later, that she is a sex object. That like people like she is very competent. She's a Borg. She's very smart. She has like the entire knowledge of the collective. But like half of the male crew is just like, but them titties though. It's fucking weird because these men should not be thinking like this because it's very anti-Star Trek. But like she's introduced almost, but the end of this episode, she's kind of created as a sex object. It's very weird. It was like, it was just like the doctor being like, ooh, I'm not much of a designer, but I made this skin tight thing for you. Let her pick what she's going to fucking wear because she's probably going to show up. She's going to give me a uniform or that's underneath or something. Like, why would she be wearing this? It's very weird. It's very weird because she probably would just been wearing the Borg thing, but like, it's strange. It's like she's almost immediately set up as a sex object on the ship.
Yeah. And also I would add that Star Trek doing sexy is always better when they go sensual, not overt. It's like how random thing about me, I think a man in a Speedo looks infinitely sexier than a naked man. There's just something there's something about it. Like go for sensual, not sex object, and it works out a lot better. And this discussion reminds me of we did the Thumb War 4 Enterprise, and we had, of course, the same issue with T'Pol. And I'm thinking about that season 3 episode where the fucking Xindi of all people give their spy a more covered and less tight outfit when she gets back to them than the fucking crew of the Enterprise did. They gave her like midriff pajamas to wear on that cold ass starship, and then she goes back to report to the Xindi who are trying to blow up a planet, and they're like, girl, put some clothes on. Like, we have respect for women here. What? Like the choices they make, these white male writers. And that is a gift for another time. Speaking of gifts, should we share our thumbs for the gift that is the episode The Gift in Star Trek Voyager?
I thought it was a lame way to say goodbye to her.
Yeah. I did like when she knocked Seven back, though. She's like, bitch.
Yeah.
And then she literally shoves the ship. Like, I love that her gift is just like, pushing them out of the way.
I just had an image of her just going.
I like the idea that she was trying to push herself away from the ship, and she accidentally pushed the ship away.
I like how
pushing herself away from Neelix.
Neelix, she's trying to get away from Neelix. She's like, "Oh, thank God, go away."
I like how she as a powerful woman is like, and moves the ship 10,000 light years. As a gay man, stands like,
yeah.
Get that ship away.
I love cunty-powered women.
Season 4, episode 3, Day of Honor. As Lieutenant Torres faces the Klingon Day of Honor, Voyager is ambushed by the Katati, who demand 7 of 9 as ransom. Because of course they do. Matt, I don't know what you just said in Katati, but I'm pretty sure it was an insult.
The other ones. That was the other ones, yeah.
I've personally offended. I just love that we just ended the conversation about 7 of 9 being an object, and here she is demanded as ransom payment. Joanne, would you like to kick this one off for us?
I mean, why break the trend of the commodification of women and their bodies in Trek? And, you know, one day I'm going to blow up this spot and we're going to talk about cosplay in Trek along those same lines. But
there goes our STLV outfit ideas.
Girl, I'm ready to have this conversation, Joanne. Yeah. We need to have a special spotlight episode just us bitching. I have so much to say.
We need to talk about it. I have so much to say about it. But this was an interesting little episode. B'Elanna frustrates me as a Klingon, um, with her, perpetual sort of angst about, what that means to her. But I found myself initially like, oh, I was really excited that she was gonna kind of, looking back over her life, like, oh, it doesn't seem as strange to me now that, I'm adult and I've had these experiences. But then I don't know, it never really comes back, um, to that. Kind of she finds her honor. I mean, she's kind of in her head, and and she ejects the warp core, and then her and Tom do that thing, and it kind of becomes about, her reflection is, well, I can't die without telling you that I love you. And I don't know, I love like everybody or most people. But that just seemed, I don't know. It seemed cheap to me. It seemed cheap. But I guess I get it. Folk are like, "Oh, it's great." I guess. Um I guess. But I don't know. I just didn't feel like what was honorable, I guess, about the day for her. What really did she learn other than about Balana? Like, what did she learn about herself? I guess is where my problem lies. So it's not really, I don't have a problem. You can love Tom, but what what did she learn about herself?
I feel like the template for B'Elanna in this aspect of B'Elanna, I think they were trying to go for in this episode, was right there in TNG with Kalar. Like, and I don't mean like mimic her story, mimic the acting choices, but like there's a template for a half Klingon who's not 100% on board with the Klingonness, but she's literally serving the Empire. So B'Elanna, you have not serving the Empire and just angsty, like you said, about her heritage. And they choose to explore it in catching feelings for this man instead of like how she's coming to terms with her heritage. Like there was an opportunity there and they just never land it with this character.
I don't know if this is going to come off problematic, but please stop me, Joanne. But B'Elanna's struggle with being Klingon always felt anti-black to me. It always feels anti-minority. It feels anti-heritage in a way where there's a certain reckoning that comes later, I guess. I don't know. Like, it always feels like she's at odds with it. And like, I don't come from that experience, but like just watching it, it just feels so like someone who might be biracial struggling with that, but then wanting to choose whiteness. It feels bad to me because I think her character is more than that. But like anytime she struggles with her being in Klingon, it's not like it's always this kind of this trope of like this angry black woman. I just don't like it because like I like the idea of her struggling with that internally, being like there are things about being Klingon that she does not like, but like the way it's written, it does not feel someone coming to terms with a culture that they are a part of but feel disconnected from. It feels like someone who is trying to actively fight who's actively fighting against their heritage and choosing whiteness.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. You're not wrong at all. And, probably the larger conversation is not a mixed company kind of conversation, but there is, there is a assimilationist thread to B'Elanna's narrative throughout Voyager that is very, I'm trying not to say problematic, but it's there. I guess that subtext is present. Yeah. You react to it how you react to it, I guess, is the best way for me to say it. But yeah, she's very. That's what I'm saying. What did she learn about herself? You don't have to embrace your Klingon heritage, But like I said, I was very encouraged when she said, she was willing to explore it and look at it through different eyes, right? Based on her lived experience, and approach it sort of honestly. But the end result in that is just, her hooking up with number two on the call sheet. I don't know. It's just, the blondest, blue-eyed, whitest, all-American Joe, hot shot pilot, fly boy. Every what?
It feels
I
a little
mean,
white saviory. It feels a little white saviory. Like, oh, this man is gonna save me from my
right.
otherness.
And
It's
even
like,
her
it's a little
dynamic with
weird.
Janeway is always,
Yeah.
they want her to be nice. They want her to be safe. They want her to be approachable. They want her to be, you know what I mean?
No one ever asks to understand why B'Elanna is frustrated. It's because that woman is smarter than everyone, and it feels like she's doing everyone's job. But they're like, "Well, you're just
Yes.
mad," and it's like, "Do your fucking job, and I won't have to be mad at you." It's like, period. I get it. Like
It's like,
I
you think
understand
this
B'Elanna
board
now.
bitch is coming in here insulting everybody. Yeah, I'm going to be pissed about
Right.
that too.
This
Come
kind
on.
of the curse of competence that B'Elanna kind of deals with. I mean, yeah, it's yeah.
I need to
I
rewatch it
find it
before I
troubling
fully
again.
yeah, I need to rewatch it before I fully discuss it. And obviously I will before we get there. But there is an episode coming up, I think 6 or 7, like very late, in which we learn, because of something she's going through, a little bit more about why she's so weird, in some ways, about one aspect of her heritage. I don't recall how problematic that is.
When
But there's something interesting there. They just never land it.
And the frustrating part is that the aspect or the half, I hate using fractions, but the half that she should have a problem with is her human. I mean, and granted, that does get addressed at some point, but like, the father walked out. Her father was human. Her father was like, "No, I can't do this," and took off. She may not have had a great relationship with her mother, but her mother stayed. Her mother
Yeah.
raised her.
That's the episode I'm talking about too.
And that's not to say that people in single parent families who are of multicultural backgrounds should strongly identify with one or the other. It's just that it's odd that this character's fictional, so we're choosing to write her this way. Like, we're trying to tell a story with this person, and we're clearly telling the wrong story. It's icky.
I want to say one small positive thing that in the same thread of this, and I forget who, I think Krista was, I forget who it was saying it. There is that one moment where she realizes that everyone around her is trying to support her in this heritage moment. You have Neelix that's making her the blood pie, and you have all these people that like want to help her. And I think that there could have been more there for her to like tease out. If, I mean, again, we're assuming good writing, which is, problematic.
It was a good way of showing that people love her.
And that was like, I wish we would have leaned more into the like, oh, I wish it was less like the Day of Honor being her having to figure out all of this stuff herself, and more of the Day of honor of her finally looking around and going, I am surrounded by people who love me. Like, her being able to say, you know what, I've been fighting so many different things in these battles internally for so long, and now these people are coming together and show her, I think that's what they were trying to get in a terrible way. I'm not justifying any of this, but I think that would have been more interesting to see, like this, lean into the chosen family, lean into your friends are helping you. We don't need you to fall in love with Tom in this episode. We don't need that right now. Show how the crew is coming together. It's not your fault that we lost the warp core. It's not your fault that we did this. Like, you are having the worst day because you're putting this pressure on yourself. And I think that would have been a more interesting story than trying to shoehorn this in.
It's a symptom of lack of diversity in the writers' room.
Yeah,
it's people that don't have these experiences trying to write to these experiences and doing it in all the wrong ways.
Yeah, I also want to clock it as like, it's a bunch of white men being like, she probably hates not being white. They probably didn't say that directly, but their implicit bias is written all over.
I would love to see thumbs for Day of Honor.
Wait, no, we're going down because they stole my warp core ejection scene.
Oh, you and your fucking ejections.
That would have made Insurrection so much better, but they cut it out. They cut out Insurrection's warp core ejection scene in the Enterprise E because it was airing the same time this did, and they gave it to Voyager. I'll take it. I don't care.
Well, actually...
That wasn't a well, actually. That was just me being a super nerd.
It was close. It was, well, actually adjacent. Season 4, Episode 4, Nemesis. Chakotay is marooned on a planet where 2 alien life forms are attempting planet-wide genocide against each other.
Speaking of the Enterprise E.
I don't know why I volunteered for this, but I'll kick things off. This episode pains me in many ways. One, it's Chakotay episode. 2, the ridiculous attempt to make the aliens seem alien by having them talk like Yoda, as I think Joanne pointed out in the pre-show. It's also telling a Star Trek story that has been told many times, so I don't know why we need Voyager's rendition of it. I don't know why we went on location, but only filmed within the same 20 square meters. It was just, they were just running around in circles through the entire episode, and it was like
a Ren fair.
When you're starting to recognize the leaves, you're not. It's a little, yeah. I'm like, that bush was in that scene 3 scenes ago. I guess there's an interesting attempt to talk about the atrocities of war, but this was not the way to explain any of this and not the way to depict it. It felt very are we trying to do a Vietnam episode in 1995 or 97, whenever this came out? And again, why Chakotay? I can think of I don't know, 8 other characters on the main cast that this would have been a better episode for. Yeah. I may have spoiled my vote on this particular episode, but it ain't great. Will?
Yeah, I think this is a good Chakotay episode, but that's a low bar to clear, Diva. Low. I mean, I think the premise, we've seen this before a couple of times, and it's been done to better effect. I think my issue is it because we have seen this before that this could have gone further, because in the 90s, my brain goes to kind of the rise of the radical right, that it feels like that's when this kind of starts kicking off, right? To my mind, it's Fox News. In the 90s when my dad started watching Fox News, which I feel was the end of critical thought in that household. But there is an idea of the propaganda of this and what that means, and it tackles it. It's interesting, but I don't think it doesn't get in the mud where I think it should be. It just plays it very safe in terms of what that does to people. And yes, these people are brainwashed, but they should have found Chakotay months later. They should have found him I would say a year. There should be a point where there's a time jump where they're he has been here for a long time. This man is irreparably changed. And sorry, I've had a cocktail. I haven't drank in a while, and I'm a little Busby Berkeley. But so I don't know if on chat if I should have another cocktail. Yeah, I think it's a good Chipotle episode, but just like Chipotle, it left me gassy. But yeah.
It's a thumbs down for me.
Yeah,
I have no commentary on this episode, and I don't want to skip us ahead. But unless somebody
also these bitches talking like fucking Yoda. Oh, the new light. Fuck you, stupid.
Just for the gas of it, we should probably vote it down. Yeah, it's Voyager trying to be gritty, and I'm like, no, gritty is the other show that's currently running. Stop, know your place,
and doing it so much better.
Thank you. Thumbs for Nemesis.
Joanne's gonna give it a
just
thumbs
the
up.
episode.
Our thumbs are in the after up.
God.
I tried. Season 4, episode 5, Revulsion. Torres and the Doctor investigated a stress signal from a hologram on an alien craft. Ensign Kim and 7 of 9 become friends. I'm not kidding. That's what the Google summary says. They become friends. Because sometimes friends fuck, but yeah. Anyway, Will, I love you, but I'm gonna make you talk about this episode.
Yeah. Yeah. Another point where this becomes Star Trek 7 of 9. The A plot of the Doctor running into another photonic holographic being is very interesting, and I like that actor. What is his name? Leland Orser. Yeah, he. It is an interesting kind of like. I think that they're. I like the A plot. I don't like much of like what happens with the Doctor. Sorry, Robert Picardo. I think this was interesting. I just don't think it goes far enough. In the kind of pairing him and B'Elanna together, I like a lot. I like their pairing for some reason. I think they balance each other just in terms of their energy. And like the 7 stuff is kind of funny, but like it's frustrating because she's more than this, and her
if
being
this was
kind
the
of
only time they did it, it
would
been
make
fine.
And it's like in like Harry being just as awkward as her, being like, I find her very attractive. What do I do? And like trying to like how does he manage that? It's very interesting, but like I don't know.
Norman makes a good point about this with the shy Asian.
Yeah.
And
Asians cannot be sexual. Yeah.
And why? He has a whole ass girlfriend. Like we saw her. Like he's had relationships. Like we don't ever see them in the show, but they exist. Like why does this man suddenly not know how to have sex?
The only thing I like it being mutually like for different reasons, but the same level of awkward from both of them. Like it's. To me, it's at least not bad. When a lot of what Voyager gets into this kind of thing, it's usually just bad. Here, it's like it was just awkward, and like it could have worked if this was the only time they do it. But then they keep throwing the Asian stereotype at him. They keep throwing her into everything, and everyone tits first. Like like Voyager picks a stupid thing to do, and then they keep doing it over and over and over again.
Yeah, it is a little.
But I'm team hologram. Organics are gross.
Yeah, I mean, the holographic stuff is really interesting because it's like, what does that mean for the Doctor? His like engagement with the crew, like what this means. Like it's very interesting, but like it doesn't deal with the philosophy of it, and like the stuff with 7, it just feels like it overshadows kind of the emotional and ethical core of the episode. In a way where I feel it does it a disservice, because we kind of see a little later on with like some of they introduce this later, this idea. But like, yeah, it's weird. I appreciate it. I just don't think that it just doesn't go far enough in the idea that like, you know, Harry could be awkward around her and like around 7 and their kind of awkwardness and her being very forward because she doesn't know what's going on. I don't know. It's a thumbs down for me. This episode just bums me out. It bums me out. Krista, please help me. You're muted, honey.
Oh, fuck me.
No, I won't. Sorry, stop asking me.
There was no reason for there to be any awkwardness, because there was no reason for there to be any sexually charged interaction between them at all. It was a tropey inclusion. It does play on a stereotype, but I do not respect the idea that this grown and very accomplished, main cast senior officer gets befuddled by these tits and a presumably superior intellect. I would like to have seen something where they just they argue intellectually, they argue about the approach of what they're going to be doing without their having it be reduced to some kind of sexual, undertone of sexualized. It's like she's just going to work her way through every male in the cast, and of course they throw Harry Kim up, like, you're first up, you're up at bat, and it was stupid, and what was supposed to be the A storyline, which turned into the B storyline, was, this hologram is murdering, is going quite beyond his holographic ability and is now murdering, which is a far more interesting story to me on how they did that. And I think it's sort of the way he was referring to humans as just being beasts and, masticating into digestive juices and just so reduced to our basis element. It very much foreshadows changelings. It foreshadows the Borg. It's the same sensibility happening there. You humans with your emotions and your weakness and your never-ending binge eating you're disgusting. You sully everything. And I thought that was far more interesting, just in the fact that he was able to do it. But it does become kind of trivialized. And I thought it would have been great if they had just focused on how all of this happened.
I want to piggyback off of that, because I think you're making a really important point about trivializing things, and I'm going to do you one better. I was going to problematic gay alert this episode because I was like, that gross hologram's kind of hot. My sarcasm about your very good point probably didn't land just now. I'm actually going in a very different direction, but thank you, Krista. You're right as always. I decided not to because I was like, that's weird. It's a weird left turn. I'm not making the segues correctly, obviously, as the faces can attest.
It's almost like when you make so many good ones, you just break yourself. Like
yeah. Like I call me Icarus because I flew too close to the sun today.
Trevor, the EXO has the power when the captain is incapacitated.
Was reminded in the chat that the sexy hologram was also the sexy Colonel Lovok in Deep Space Nine, the sexy yet troubled drug dealer / serial kidnapper in Carpenter Street on Enterprise. He was also a fuckboy, as Benji puts it, in the episode Sanctuary, that episode that had the woman had like her 3 fuckboys, her 3 husbands in Deep Space Nine. So he's just being sexy all over the franchise.
So Stan, I need you to hit the problematic gay alert 5 times.
Problematic gay alert. Problematic gay alert. Problematic gay alert. Problematic gay alert.
Somebody count for me. Was that 5 or was that 4?
No, one more.
Problematic gay alert.
Thank you so much.
Now show me your disgusting organic thumbs for revulsion.
It's a thumbs up for Will.
Will fucking loved this one. Season 4, episode 6, The Raven. 7 of 9 experiences flashbacks from her life before assimilation and flees Voyager in attempt to join the Borg again. I just like saying again as again from time to time. Stan, anything you would like to say about The Raven evermore?
Again, I would love to. No, that didn't work. Sorry.
I tell you,
it's going to be a roller coaster. I'll get back up. I promise. No,
don't try.
No,
don't
no,
try. Don't try.
No. No.
Stan, you've entered a Salon refractory period. Just embrace it.
Okay, so the Raven. I think we needed this episode. Like, we have a new character. We want to explore her past. What happened? How'd she get there? Especially since, like, we knew about Wolf 359, but, like, why was this bitch as a child? Like, Wolf 359, like, the timing wouldn't have worked. So we needed the explanation. The execution of this episode was interesting. Again, this is one of those, like, if this was the only time, but we're going to see similar aspects from this episode many, many more times in this show. And so I don't mean to add judgment onto this episode because Brandon Braga only has 2 or 3 ideas and then just regurgitates them. But what I love in this episode is a burgeoning, if not friendship, respect between Tuvok and Seven that I wish we got more of. It feels very much to me like what we could have had with Odo and Jadzia after her Jantara experience with him. Learning about her shitty parents as somebody with a shitty father, girl, I get it. Although I'm not going to get too real. My father didn't put me into direct danger per se, so I'll give him that. These parents are terrible. I wish there was more exploration of that. There's going to be a little bit in a made-for-TV movie / 2-parter later on, but the stuff with the aliens was interesting. We got the old shuttle again. It's always nice to see the fat one, but yeah, they pulled their punches on this one again. There's a lot of Star Trek Voyager being Star Trek Voyager in this episode. They kind of get there, but then they pull their punches. We have some interesting things that they could explore more and then choose not to. So it's going to be a sideways for me. Spoiler alert, but those are my thoughts on the Raven.
The seeing a Raven and then the ship being the Raven was a little too spot on. Like, just saying imagery doesn't work like that, nor does the human brain. But it is an interesting backstory. I always felt like it was too soon. I didn't need to know all this about her this fast. I felt like we should have learned to dislike. I feel like we should have been Team B'Elanna in finding her annoying and finding her overly assertive and finding, like, yes, you're brilliant, but, like, there's a way to do things and a way to interact with people. Why are you here? Before we felt sympathy for her. I would like to have felt like an ass for disliking her. And I never got that opportunity. Like, I wanted to misjudge her and I didn't get that chance. Well,
yeah, I think the kind of, like, the bubbling up of because as a child she experienced an act of violence.
Yes.
Like, if you assume that assimilation is violent and it is awful, and that kind of bubbling up comes in. I mean, I don't know. I'm in agreement with you. It would have been nice if we got a little bit more of her on the ship and as she is with them, and, like, her kind of being Borg and very direct and very curt and rude to a certain extent, and then got this later that, like, oh, there's a lot of trauma that she might be dealing with or doesn't know how to deal with. Like, I thought the Borg stuff was really creepy because, like, they again, like what Stan said, they just don't go far enough in terms of, like, what that means for someone who was, like, assimilated, was a part of this. This was majority of her life. The only person we really saw was Picard. I mean, there's Hugh to a certain extent, but he was still Borg. He wasn't unborged, deborged, I guess. So there's not an exploration of what that means. And I think this show doesn't, it just wasn't TV at the time, which I think, like, is a little annoying. And it's not a way to, like, justify the lack of, like, their pushing these subject matters, because the other series have done it in successful ways. I just think they don't explore this enough. We do later in the kind of, I feel like, soft 2-parter to this episode later, but, like, it just doesn't go far enough what that means to her and her being confused by it. Like, it just seems like, oh, she's acting out. I was like, no, there's trauma happening here. And again, Star Trek doesn't deal well with it. But there's an interesting idea. I just don't think they're digging into it enough.
I
And
agree.
those aliens they run into are fucking annoying. But yeah, sorry. Go ahead,
And
Joanne.
no, I agree that I really, because it annoyed me that the ship was the Raven. I really thought they were gonna kind of call back and lean into. They didn't have to make the connection, but we could have made the connection with the whole Raven being kind of like with Data, and you're the bird. That makes sense, right? That she's come from like this, assimilation kind of place, but now she's trying to find herself, and you're the bird, you're the Raven. They really could have. That was what I was hoping that they were going to do. And just like, you have to. She's kind of the anti-Data, right? She's a human who became machine like. So now, she's trying to gain back her humanity where, Data was the other way around. So they really could have leaned into that. Like, what does this mean for me to have this trauma experience, this act of violence upon my life, and kind of my anger with my parents for putting me in that situation and all of that. But now I have this reluctantly found family, right? Or at least place at this point, right? What am I going to do with this? Who am I in this context? That they just didn't do. So I said all that to say I agree with you, Will. They just didn't. They didn't follow their own thread, right? Because as soon as I saw the bird, I was like, "Oh, you better work. Way to call back. Bring back a theme that would work, right?" No.
Yeah, they don't play the metaphor and the analogy well enough. I also think this has been a wonderful time to kind of build a thread between Seven and B'Elanna, because B'Elanna talks about how like she kind of had shitty parents. And what does that mean? Pair her up with someone who dealt with having a shitty parent and kind of have
heritage issues.
Yeah, and explore this kind of this childhood trauma together in a way that I think would bind two women where they're not having to discuss a man. Where this is about their experience. Like, hi, let's pass the Bechdel test. Like, because both of them have to explore themselves through a masculine figure. Sorry, it's annoying.
Well, that's how women do it, right? Women can't be.
Wind up sound from the chat. Men. Actually, don't. I'll say it for you because I'm a man. So women, don't sound off. I'll say, yeah.
And Krista agrees with me. I'm sure.
No, it's annoying. It's annoying. It's annoying. But no, but don't blame women. Blame men for that one. But yeah. Anyway, down. Well, like here.
I don't like it.
Quite down, but it's like here.
I don't like it.
But it's a down.
I feel bad putting that one down because we do get a lot of Borg and we always complain about not seeing Federation families and stuff, and
there's plenty more where that came from.
Yeah, there will be more Borg family bullshit. Don't worry.
Don't panic. Season 4, Episode 7, Scientific Method. 7 of 9 tries to find the cause of a strange sickness affecting the Voyager crew. That's literally all that the Google had to say about
that. Is also not true.
It's, I mean,
kind of.
She didn't try to find shit. The doctor did and told her.
Ish. Anywho, Matt, take it away.
Unironically, this is like my go-to, one of my favorite episodes to show everyone because I think it's incredibly clever. It works with sci-fi, the trope of sci-fi so well. You get incredible acting from everyone on the cast. Like, it's unhinged. It's not what you normally see. It's a little ridiculous, but when you look at it in the context of this entire crew who is being experimented on, there are people who are literally just dropping dead in the corridors and you have no idea what's going on. You get unhinged Janeway. I mean, that whenever I'm stressed out, I have her in my head going, you're just pumping up my dopamine. Like the way she says the lines, the staccato, yes, good morning. That's a matter of opinion. I have said that so many times and people don't understand what I'm saying.
Shall I flog them as well?
Don't 13 department heads report to you? Shall I
Tuvok
flog them as
coming
well?
in with the shall I Tuvok
And then-
making that reference.
But then you have that in that exact same scene, you have this softness where they're sitting on the couch and she says, you know, after all this is done, I think I'm going to go spend a couple days in Tuscany. And he goes, I shall join you for a glass of wine. Like, I say this unironically. I genuinely, obviously, Year of Hell, the other ones are really great. Relativity, great episode, fun, time travel. Scientific Method for me is one of the best Voyager episodes. It is an episode in a bottle. Nothing affects anything else, but you get such a good plot. It's an interesting plot. It keeps you questioning. I genuinely love this episode. Like so much. Them flying the ship through the binary pulsars. Obviously, you know they're going to survive, but like you don't know what's going to happen. It's so good. So this is obviously my big thumbs up. But
I love this episode for how fucking terrifying it is. The concept of these invisible people just like fucking with you and conducting experiments, and I mean, it's an episode of Star Trek, so we know an episode of episodic Star Trek, so that we know within 42 minutes everyone's going to be fine. But like the idea of
not the bitch that overheated on the bridge. She wasn't fine.
Well, despite we'll get into television CPR later, but tune into a very special episode of fake medical procedures on the Salon. It's just a great horror episode of Star Trek Voyager. Like I just am obsessed with how terrifying it is, and you don't intuit the solution. I didn't solve that until Janeway did, and I appreciate that about this episode. Go ahead, William, and then let's see some thumbs.
I love this episode too. I think it's one of my favorites of the season because it's kind of weird, it's kind of creepy. It's that kind of like that weirdness that I kind of wanted from this show. Like it ranks in like the Vidian areas. I'm like, ooh, this is weird. It's kind of terrifying, kind of body horror-esque, where like these weird things are happening to the crew and they don't know what's going on, and it ends up being these aliens running experiments on them who are kind of like, we're just running tests. And it's like, well, the ethical quandary of like, if you're running a test on us, what does that mean? I think Janeway has that line where she goes, the lab rats are fighting back, which I always thought was really funny. She was, but yeah, and her just being desperate, being like, fuck this. Like her being like a woman who is just tired, who is just like, I'm willing to kill everyone in this bitch because I'm fucking tired. Like, been there.
And
honestly.
yes. Let's also like we also forget that this episode starts out with Janeway getting that massage from the doctor. Like perfect comedic. Captain, I hear what you're saying. Actually, I was going to suggest putting on a uniform. Like, and then she has that the humor in this episode is so perfectly balanced.
I think I would have liked that more if they had introduced a new holographic character, Voyager's massage therapist.
And he's a hot guy with big
They have the luau. Come on, the template's right there, Voyager.
What, Krista?
Only if it was Neelix. Like,
oh god,
how is it that massage?
You haven't lived until you've felt my elbows in your spine.
I did this to Wixibon 3 episodes ago. I'm never going to get over that name. I'm never getting over that name. Thumbs for Scientific Method.
That visual of the
Joanne has a thumbs up.
Spikes in her head.
So good.
Yes.
Oh, it was so
just barely.
I was like, Cronenberg.
It's very Hellraiser, very Cronenberg. Yeah.
Speaking of hell, season 4 episode. Do I get segue points? No. Okay. Season 4 episodes. I guess I'm in charge. I can do whatever the fuck I want. Episodes 8 and 9, Year of Hell, parts 1 and 2. Krenim leader Anarax hopes to change history and save his people, turning back time. But the Voyager crew has other plans. Part 2, Captain Janeway valiantly tries to save the crippled Voyager from the Krenim weapon ship. Chakotay finds himself fascinated by Anarax's temporal mechanics lessons. That's not how that... No. Anyway, Stan.
Yeah, I will kick off. But I have some controversial yet brave opinions about this episode, but I will start with the positives. I think there are very powerful performances here. I think it's really interesting to get rid of Chakotay and Paris from Voyager for a little bit. As a ship porn guy, I love like this is when they like go full CG and like we get to fuck up Voyager. We get ships running into it. The ending looks really cool. There's science-y, there's timey-wimey bullshit. I know Matt will talk about that. My two biggest problems with this episode, my controversial yet brave opinion. I said this a couple weeks ago. I think Basics 1 and 2 would have been the more interesting season-long arc. People in the fandom talk about this being the season-long arc because they did discuss it being a season-long arc, and then they just did whatever. I think maybe a few more episodes, but regardless, my two biggest problems with this. Number one, not the most disrespectful thing they did to Kes, but Kes literally warned Voyager about these people, and so I wanted that addressed. I want like my head canon, which I know everybody, especially Will, loves to hear about, is that first Krenim weapon attack somehow wiped out her warning. Like that's the only way that it kind like a line from Janeway was like, "Wait, I'm sorry, these are the people Kes warned us about." Like when they first interact with like the really like the dweeby one, and then I get the science-y, the timey-wimey, like the ending of it does make some sense, but that the ending wipes it all away, that they all wake up in the shower. There's a Dallas reference for if you know, you know. Like, it really bothers me. It's sort of like, you know, when Kirsten Beyer was with us and she talked about the resurrection of Spock bothering her because real people don't get to do that. And then she got to write a resurrection, even though she hates resurrections. Like it's the same kind of thing. Like I want consequences. I want stakes, both meaty and complication wise.
I'm a vegetarian and I too enjoy steaks. Matt.
Okay, so obviously there's the whole temporal aspect of this, which is I love. I love how they did it. I love how they had the shielding. I love how they were they explained it better than a lot of times you get in Star Trek with time travel. Of like you have the two perspectives of her being off the, them being out of the time ship and Tom and Chakotay being on the time ship and trying to learn it. I will agree. I fully agree, Stan, on a rewatch. They should have mentioned, I think it should have been in episode 2 at the very end when everything like, oh, well, glad we avoided them. And it should have been like, glad Kes warned us about this after they had already done all of that. And then it was like a nod back. I think that would have been a really nice touch to it. It didn't have to have an impact. It could have just been a little like, but this to me, we finally get to stretch our legs with storytelling in this two-part. I think that's one of the things, even without time travel in it, you finally get to see, like, again, the CGI pushed to the limits. What Voyager really should have looked like half the time that we're seeing it on screen. I loved seeing Deck 5 get blown out. I loved seeing those two people die because it was like, finally, like, these are things that happen, It's such a good idea of this man's, it's his Moby Dick. He is chasing that white whale that killed his wife, and the white whale is time. And you'll never win. You're never going to win. The whole point of Moby Dick is that you're not going to win against nature. This beast is going to overpower you because of your obsession. His beast is overcoming time. And I think that's a really interesting way of doing it. And it's just, there's so many things in both of these that it's so hard not to talk about Voyager without talking about Ear of Hell. And everyone is acting so well in it. You have people that are pushed to their limits. You have Janeway, again, pushed to her limits. When she tells the doctor, what are you going to do? Confine me to quarters? Like, my quarters don't exist anymore, bitch. Like, good job. You're barely online if we hadn't got that little trinket on your shoulder. You know, we get Red from that 70s show, and I mean, that's fantastic. And also, we get one of the hottest first officers ever seen. Obrist needs to bust my back out. I'm sorry.
Problematic gay alert.
I've wanted him for so long. I'm just saying. This was such a good episode. And we get to see Voyager explode with the nacelle that flies up with the...
I don't have the right one on video, but we do have an explosion. So there you go. Krista, then Will.
I didn't have anything to say.
I was like, I'm over here doing the pee-pee dance, but sure, call on Will.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I thought I saw a hand, and I defer to women.
Unlike Voyager.
I see you.
That sounded like more of a threat. I see you. That wasn't like.
What you mean is you have him in your sights.
I didn't read that in the Avatar.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna go on. My hatred of two-parters remains in effect. This could have been an episode or a season-long arc. It didn't need to be 2 episodes. Didn't like the Chakotay bit at all. I didn't like the whole let me attempt to identify with our kidnappers. Like, it was weird. Like, it didn't make any sense. I don't think it was necessary. I would have been fine sympathizing with Anorax when the piece of hair, which is an odd thing to have of your spouse, fell off the desk. I'm still stuck on the hair. Like, why does he have hair?
Because you're
Would
bald.
you rather toenail clippings? Like, what?
But my husband isn't. I don't have stashes of his hair in a drawer. Like, I'm like, what the fuck is that? That's
your
The lady doth protest too much. There's a whole cabinet full of hair, isn't there? You weirdo.
I have 2 little vials of hair, and they're from deceased pets. So
and a
that's
merkin.
Well, maybe. No, I don't like that. That was a weird thing to collect. I thought that was strange, but I could sympathize with him when it fell and disappeared. No, the hair thing in the vial.
I was gonna say it. I was hoping someone else would. Girl, you came through.
I'm done.
Listen, we're not here to yuck anyone's yum. Certainly not Krista.
I don't see the point of a
It's
stun.
fine. That's never gonna get old.
Oh my god.
Okay, so in summary,
Through today.
didn't need to be 2 parts. Didn't like Chakotay. Didn't like the kidnapping. Didn't like the weird ass hair collector. Like, he's a fucking serial killer. Didn't need it to feel sympathy for him and his situation. And last but not least, I actually passionately disliked Janeway's response to her chief medical officer. She has advocated for him up to this point for being a sentient being. He asserted himself under Starfleet principles, which she used to maroon her crew in the first place, and was then like, I'm not going to follow that regulation because you're just a hologram and you can't do anything about it. She didn't call out the hologram part, but she did say there's basically nothing you can do, so suck it. And I'm like, the number of episodes we've been in where no one could do anything, but she abided by regulation and principle. And then she just decided that he was no longer capable, or she wasn't going to abide by his authority as chief medical officer.
She wasn't tired in those episodes, though. That's the thing. She was tired. She's
tired. Hold on. Here's my thing, though.
No,
here's my thing. I want to say, like, I think it was more the point that there was 6 of them on the ship at that point, and she was kind of like,
doesn't matter.
What the? But okay, what's she gonna do? Like, I'm gonna go
take a nap. She needed to take a nap.
You know
regulations
what?
Are regulations, and she did a disservice.
There was no ship left. Like,
she did a disservice to him and to herself.
The nebula was inside. It was an inside nebula.
The nebula is coming from inside the starship.
I can solve this episode right now. What everybody needed was Alfred
American?
Woodard. Alfred Woodard. She comes in, she bitch slaps everybody. Get your
Another
shit.
Moby Dick reference.
You're not
Speaking
wrong.
of slaps, let's show our thumbs, which are attached to our hands that slap things. I got there. I got there.
Oh no! Audience,
Wow.
break the tie.
Oh wow, it's
Norman gave it
literally
a thumbs up.
Which
it would have been a thumbs up. There needed to be an emotional foil to Anorax,
but that
that's
makes
my
it.
only
But that makes it a sideways.
fine.
Because there are,
Don't try to change the. Don't.
no, because there are 3 ups, but there are 2 sideways and 2 downs, so it lands in sideways.
We could land the thumbs.
I don't change the rules. I fucking wrote them. It's a sideways,
And he keeps rewriting them.
How can
and I
we
will keep
sideways
rewriting
year
them
of
as
hell?
long as everyone keeps talking over my segments.
oh my god.
Season 4,
Fucking
episode 10, Random Thoughts, which all of us are vocalizing. Violent thoughts lead Torres to jail when the crew vacations on a planet among peaceful telepaths. Are they? Are they peaceful? Google.
Are they?
I don't think they are.
Aren't
I
we?
would love to talk more about this episode. Not really. Stan, do you have any random thoughts about Random Thoughts?
So many, but I'll keep it brief. We get Bator back in the show. Loved her cameo, not cameo, but her guest starring as the Minority Report inspector lady. The guy who wanted to buy all the juicy thoughts. I had a lot of juicy thoughts for him, and I would give them to him.
Problematic gay alert.
The only problem with this episode is, well, there are 2. The real one is like, as an abstention, I cannot form that word right now. Abstention. No, I can't. I'm too tired. As what is basically a B'Elanna episode, there's not enough of her. There's not enough of
Ostensibly.
There you go. Thank you so much. See, I got there. And this is kind of a B'Elanna episode, except not really, and they take her out of it, and it's kind of Tuvok. Like, her and Tuvok working together on it, I think would have been better. Than, like, she had to surrender herself to do the thing. She couldn't go back to the ship, something, rather than just stay in the chair, whatever, like that. And then obviously the bigger problem is that unfortunate young woman got killed instead of Neelix, because it should have been him. And for that reason, it's a thumbs down, because
Poor unfortunate soul.
Poor unfortunate soul.
Oh, sorry everyone for triggering that.
You cannot quote Ursula without me doing that. Sorry.
Any other random thoughts on Random Thoughts?
I just have to say,
Yes, ma'am.
Norman and I continue to be of similarly same mind in that it is not a B'Elanna episode. I think the homoerotic subtext was intentional. It is a fetish, sensual. I'm trying to avoid some other words, but you know what I'm saying.
Say it.
The intent,
Say
the
it,
homoeroticism was intentional, I guess is my point.
Does it count as cheating in Ponfar if it's gay?
Asking for a friend?
Yeah, because I mean, he has a wife. So what are the Vulcan open relationship rules? Is it not cheating if it's with a man?
I don't know their rules.
Okay, well, Will can ask it directly into Spock's titties one day, and we'll find the answer.
I will. I'm gonna ask him. I'm gonna whisper them into spitties.
Well, it might not be a cultural thing. It might be a
directly.
specific relationship thing. It might be
It'll echo back.
Tuvok and T'Pel. T'Pel was his wife's name, right?
Right. Yes. This was like, I watched this and for some reason I remember this as a TNG episode, not as a Voyager episode.
Yes.
Because it's a TNG episode.
Exactly.
It has nothing to do with Delta Quadrant. All this, like we've had like 3 episodes in TNG that are about this. And I was like, and I watched this, I was like, oh fuck, this is a Voyager episode. In my brain had switched everyone.
Missing
like,
a
in my
soccer
brain, it
ball
was
in the
someone.
garden.
Yeah, it was like I was like,
That's
oh,
it.
I thought my brain put this in as a TNG episode. So watching it again was kind of fun because my mind switched B'Elanna with Worf, and then everyone else. I was like, oh, none of this. My mind changed it, so it's a thumbs down because there's a TNG episode. Braga dusted off a TNG script and was like, change the names.
I just got the lake and the soccer ball reference, and all I can think of is Kestra Troy. Rest in peace, girl. Thumbs for random thoughts. I don't like it. Okay.
Boot.
Sit down. Okay. Season 4, episode 11, Concerning Flight. Voyager encounters a space pirate who uses a transporter to steal machinery from passing ships. Janeway works with the Leonardo da Vinci program. I almost said DiCaprio. To get Voyager. Oh my God, it actually says.
Now that would be an episode.
Janeway works with the Leonardo da Vinci program to get Voyager's things back. That is the action. I want my things back.
That's accurate.
Bitch.
This is
Katarina.
Mateo, kick it off.
Again, I love problematic episodes. I have a lot of thoughts. How is it that easy to just beam shit out of Voyager? Everyone, I've
Sound off
lost
in the
everyone.
chat if there's any transporter techs.
It just seems like you shouldn't be. Wouldn't the ship just shut down without the main computer? Like just ripping that. It's like pulling the hard drive out of your computer while it's on. Like, wouldn't that affect? Other than that, I think it's fun. I think it's a fun episode. I think we get to see them on a planet, running around, whatever that steel mill set was. I'm assuming they were on location because that was on location somewhere. There's just something about this episode that endears it to me because it's like watching her talk to Da Vinci and like, oh, you can do all these wonderful things, Katarina.
You can shoot lightning from a pistol.
Lightning from a my patron is just benevolent and he's a cruel man. And it's like, I know there was something campy about this episode that I loved, and it endeared me to it because of the camp and because of the fact that it truly feels like Voyager flew into the wrong neighborhood and just got the shit kicked out of it and everything's stolen. And they're like, wait, what?
Yeah, they got carjacked again.
Like they were mugged in broad daylight and everyone else was like, yeah, you walked here. Like, get over yourself. Like, sorry, Starfleet, whatever the fuck that is. Like, I liked it. I don't know. I did.
Who knew Voyager had hubcaps?
They literally.
That was really good, Matt. Though whatever the fuck that is.
That's what it, because
really
that's the vibe of this. Because it's always like Voyager's like, oh, we're Starfleet. And it's like, okay.
Yeah, everyone's like,
all right.
Is that a fleet from the stars? Because that's such an original name.
Wow, we're all Starfleet.
We're all in spaceships, dumbass. Yeah.
Now I want Voyager to run into another organization that's called Starfleet, and they're like, you think you're the only? It's a big galaxy, bitch. It's like, we're Starfleet. No, we are. Like,
or like
no.
Space Armada, or they keep running into. Yeah,
no,
we're the fleet for the stars.
Run into Starfleet, like mini kiss. Kiss.
Yeah. We're all little people. Yeah, I love that.
We're all drunk.
What was it called in the original series? Like before they bothered to do any world building, wasn't it like the space fleet command or something like that?
There was Space Command, and then there was United Earth Space something. USPA.
Yeah,
they mentioned several times. Yeah,
and then it
Space
was
Command.
the Starfleet. The thing is,
There was the Starfleet, yeah.
Well, the
The
Starfleet.
Voyager.
Well, the thing is, like, the Starfleet was the original, like, just catch-all. It wasn't like that was the name of it. It was just, they were the Starfleet, and then it just became Starfleet. So it's not even that interesting. Even the origins of Starfleet is not that, like.
This is why the
creative.
canon cops can sit down, because I'm like, your original series that you evangelized didn't figure shit out.
I have questions about the Prime. Maybe they're not. Maybe they don't matter. But I have questions about the Prime Directive on this. They made a flying glider and then disappeared.
Well, they had warp technology, or at least space tech.
They're all just pirates.
Because I didn't pay. Because listen, Leonardo was so distracting to me. I didn't pay attention to anything.
Kristarina, you've got to pay attention to your patron, David.
I didn't pay attention. And how the fuck did they get it built? And then they just go, look, we're flying. Oh, we're flying. Katarina, we're flying. We're going to Portugal. We're good. Shut. Stop.
This episode fucking sucks.
Oh, come on, it's so campy and dumb.
This episode, Chris is describing, what the fuck was this? I watched it. I don't remember any of this happening.
And they're like, we're going to Portugal. And I'm like, from Southern California in a glider?
Yeah.
Hey,
They were also like, we get some fun, like, we get Tuvok with like, oh, it is hotter than the Isle of Vulcan here. And he's like, I love a dumb tongue-in-cheek, like,
that's because that's what Tuvok calls his dick.
You do love a dumb tongue. Yeah, we went to the same place.
Yep.
We are as one.
What did you guys think of concerning?
They're all dumb tongues in my.
What do your thumbs think of concerning flight? I fucking hate this episode.
The only reason it's aside from being not a down is interesting use of transporter tech.
Sure.
That's the only.
Thank you, Benji.
Nerd.
Petra, sorry you didn't come
also
tonight.
I appreciate our audience more than you.
I like it when Krista yells at people that don't show up to work. season 4.
Jesus.
Dean Krista of the Starfleet. Season 4.
Joanne is so sick of our shit. She's like, this is Voyager.
Rightfully so.
Clip all of this. This is fucking gold.
Oh my god.
Season 4, episode 12. I'm okay. Jesus.
Oh, my tits hurt.
Girl. Oh god. Okay. Oh sure, give Trevor another task. 'Cause what the fuck? Okay, got it. Season 4, episode 12. Mortal Coil. Neelix questions the purpose of his life, like the audience.
Oh god.
When 7 of 9 reactivates him following a fatal accident.
Giving this episode the levity it deserves.
Thank God. Krista, would you like to take this one?
No, Joanne goes first. Joanne goes first. Okay. All right.
I'm trying to see if there's another cleansing video to help, but I don't.
Okay, this one where Neelix dies, and I can't. Okay, I enjoyed this. Strangely, I enjoyed this Neelix episode because I really liked that he got into 7 of 9's face and basically screamed, "What right did you have to bring me back?" because she's not a doctor, she's not the captain, she's not in command of anything. And just because you can do a thing doesn't mean you should do a thing. And the argument, I didn't ask for this, and the argument being, well, you were dead, is just, I was like, whatever. But the thing that triggered me most about this episode, and I did like it, was story time with Krista. When I was 8 years old, I went through a period of time. I went through a period of time where I would wake up in the middle of the night absolutely terrified because I would dream of dying and there being nothing happening. Now, I don't know what's happening to an 8-year-old to have these kinds of dreams, but
Neelix was there.
It was a foretelling of Neelix. But that aspect of it was very triggering to me, not just because when I was a kid, I went through a period of time where I actually wondered about those things, but I still continue to wonder about those things. And I think that the idea of faith and the idea of like a structured afterlife and all of this kind of thing is like integral to the human condition. Like we desperately need to know. And we're very angry sometimes about the fact that it's not a concrete science. You can't, there's nothing concrete about it. It's all just primarily based on faith. And maybe it's a story told from generation to generation. But I think it's part of the human condition that search to know, and only being able to really to feel as though you know it through the institution of religion, whatever religion you choose. Oftentimes there's a period after your death, and it's usually better than the one you're living. And I mean, I don't know much about religion, but it's the kind of thing that sort of sustains people through living through what they're living through immediately. And I think that one of the scariest concepts out there is the idea that there might not be something there. Like that is a mind problem for me. So I think about that. Anyway, but I liked it. And it was a Neelix episode, and he really got kind of righteous there in a way that I didn't find totally annoying. The end.
Joanne.
It's a great episode written by Brian Fuller. You know, I love him. I love him, whatever. I love him. Fight me later. And I thought it was just a very compelling, and it was a good Neelix episode. It's probably the only good Neelix episode, in my opinion. So I really appreciated just the questions that it raised. I think Krista's spot on about those sorts of beliefs being fundamental to everybody. In my story time, I saw someone's faith deconstructed like that real time when I was in grad school, and we were I was in Exilic Prophets, and the professor was talking about whatever we were talking about, but somehow she got to the point, was talking about the New Testament and the writings and sayings of Jesus. And, she was on this rant, and she basically said, there are folk who still believe, Jesus said all the words in the red letters. And the woman who sat next to me, who's actually still a very good friend of mine, the look came over her face like, and she said it, what do you mean? Jesus did say all the words in the red letters. And the professor, thankfully, kind of realized like, oh, I've broken something in her, right? And it's because you would think somebody in divinity school would have already gone through a little bit of deconstruction. When when you take on the critical study of religion, you would think, but no, she was holding on. All of this other stuff was fine, but she was still holding on to her red letter Jesus. And to see that wash away for someone in an instant is it's equal parts like it's hard to see because you're initially it's like, come on girl, you know what I mean, you kind of have the giggles like, are you serious right now? And then you're like, oh, you're serious right now. Like everything that you've ever believed to be true and right, what's grounded you and anchored you in this world has been shattered. And to deal with that in the concise and very efficient way that they did in this episode, no notes. No notes. Very well done. Very well done.
I completely agree. And I also had, I think it was 6 or 8 for me as well when my first conceptualization of death hit, and like, which is way too young. Also, fun fact about me, that was the same time that I was being indoctrinated into the Mormon church. So maybe that had something to do with it. This is an excellent episode. As somebody who has had several existential crises and worked through it, it still hits. We joke about killing Neelix. This was an excellent Neelix episode. If we got more of this, Trevor and I have talked about this a lot. If he was a father figure to Kes, as we start to see it with Naomi, the first Naomi, or technically the second Naomi, it would have done the character a better service. And I think this episode did something really good that we often talk about as a kind of a knock, because in some of the things that they choose to talk about, they pull their punches and it doesn't make any sense, like be bold. Here, they could have been bold and been like, yep, there's nothing, deal with it, Neelix. But just like with Emanations, they gave Harry in that episode just a little bit to be like, well, maybe those vacuoles do have something to do with their afterlife or the afterlife. And we just don't know about that. We just don't know. Like here, this is a great example of where they could have done something crazy bold, and them choosing to pull their punch was a good choice. And it was an excellent episode for that reason for me.
I really just want to make one comment that says it's ironic that the best Neelix episode is the one where he dies. I mean, we've been saying
it is and it isn't. Like it's both at the same time.
Right.
Well,
right. Yeah.
It's so funny. We talked about this episode is a person who was not raised with a faith, who does not practice anything. That like I interpret this episode more about suicide than anything else. I don't think it hits the idea of religion, because Star Trek kind of always skirts the issue a little bit, like because it can't be answered scientifically. So it kind of always moves around it. I mean, now, like, we don't know how to explain it. So like it kind of moves around this subject and leaves it kind of ambiguous. But I think this episode, as it tackles the idea of someone wanting to end their life to prove something, or for whatever, whatever that reason is, I think it handles it in like kind of an interesting way as someone who is not attached to a faith or has not been attached to a faith, that it approaches this subject in such an interesting way, with Neelix's character kind of, Joel said something about ego death, where I think Neelix kind of goes through it in this episode, where like he has this veneer of this kind of like, I'm the person who's the morale officer and I'm the chef, I'm supposed to be happy, this bright character, and then going through something very dark and then wanting to continue down that path to then look at death more as the answer to questions he's having, in like this kind of spiritual and metaphysical struggle that he's having. it's interesting. My note on this episode was angry Neelix is interesting. Because when the moments where that veneer cracks is the most interesting parts of him. And he eventually gets reduced down to just being this veneer. But the few times we get Neelix challenged is very interesting because I think Ethan Phillips really puts his teeth into it. But I think this episode, for me personally, is a recitation on suicide and suicidal ideation is very interesting. And also Brian Fuller, please call me. I love you. I will do the cooking. I will do the cleaning. I love you. Daddy Brian Fuller.
I don't cook, I don't clean, but I'll show you how I got this ring.
Girl, baby. I'm gonna get that ring. I'm gonna get multiple. Anyway, Krista.
That was almost wholesome on Will's part, and it's like kind of.
I had to end it.
It was
It's a wonderful episode. He's a wonderful writer. I love Brian Fuller. Hannibal, I love you.
He did throw his hole at him.
But dirty as fuck on Joanne's part, so push the button.
Problematic gay alert. You thirsty bitch.
In the arms of the angel.
I think it's interesting that you draw the suicide imagery because it's very reminiscent to the previous episode where you've got the people that are euthanized and sent off into space,
right?
Only to find that it isn't at all what they were told. And I think it's not so much an episode about. I prefer to think of it as a episode regarding faith. However you define that faith, however you box that in. But also, I thought it was kind of this was midway through the season. It became sort of clear to me in this episode that they really are doing kind of a let's look at the lemonade side of the Borg. Like most of the problems that are being solved up to this point are, part and parcel solved through some amalgam of Seven's Borg-ness.
Until they forget about it.
Tech or some this or that. And it's kind of like they're taking the opposite. They're like, well, let's look at the Borg more as just kind of a grumpy neighbor instead of this, assimilating apex predator that will end you after absorbing everything that you are. And I thought this one really felt like it was sort of it was really representative of that with Seven suggesting it and the nanoprobes and the continued shots and she's coming and doing his checks and all of that. So that when he finally kind of looks at her and says, who the fuck are you to make any of these decisions? Who the fuck are you to do this at all? It resonated.
Absolutely, because at the beginning, she broaches the subject by saying, because Neelix's role in the crew is diverse, right? And you're like, oh, Seven's doing something out of the kindness of her heart. It feels very altruistic. But then Neelix comes back at her, right? Like, how dare you, right? And so kind of back to Joel's point and Voyager's earlier about the death of ego, but the death of hubris, the death of, all of these things, the death of purpose, right? To Will's point, when life no longer has purpose for you, right? And they just cycle through all of these stages of grief, right? In this episode, all throughout this little hour. So it just, like I said, still, I think very well handled. As someone who is actively sitting in her grief right now, right? Just well done. And I encourage you, you don't even have to watch the whole episode, but watch the opening sequence of the first episode of American Gods if you have access to it.
Oh, yeah.
Also done by Brian Fuller. Just the opening little prologue, and think about this episode and tell me anyway. Come talk to me about it. Hit me up on
American Gods was a fantastic
banger, but yeah.
And everybody was hot. Everybody.
Unlike Voyager.
Everyone.
I also had oddly positive feelings about a Neelix episode, and I'm still reconciling it 20 years later, 30 years later. But the one thing that stuck out to me during this conversation about this episode was the sort of struggle with the conceptualization of, is there something after, and if there is, what is it, and what if I'm wrong? And without going into a full, I could do like 3 salons on this topic, but just for my own personal journey, which was, I didn't really think there was anything, and then that sort of changed through just personal experience. And then in reconciling that, I asked the question, I dared to ask the question, what if I'm wrong? Like I didn't have belief before, and I have belief now, but I don't have anything concrete I can't show you anything that tells you why I feel the way that I feel. I just have feelings. So I processed what if I'm wrong, and if anyone else ever does, I just offer this little tidbit that helped me get through that, which was, I don't know if there's anything after, but I know exactly who and what will be the last synapse that fires. And if everything else, if death, like everything else, and eternity, like everything else, is relative, then eternity for me will be that last synapse. And I know exactly who and what it is, and I'm okay with that. If I'm wrong about my belief that there's something else, I'm okay, because I know what eternity is for me. So it includes a lot of people none of you have ever met, and it includes a lot of people that you see on the screen.
I was just going to say,
none of you bitches will be there. Trevor wants to be very clear. It is a very powerful thing.
Because Will's standing there holding the plug that no, I'm kidding. No.
Oh.
Will's taking me out. No.
Listen, he's got
Gay alert.
He's gonna have to fight me for it.
Plug.
A different kind of. I'm so sorry. A different kind of plug. So sorry.
Totally
so
different
sorry.
plug.
I am very tired. Again, I am very tired. A different kind of plug. I'm so
Although
sorry.
I do appreciate that that's the plug that's keeping Trevor alive.
I mean, there will probably come a point, if we're all being honest.
Is the Merlin in the room with us now?
I don't like hair.
It's in his room.
A great callback.
Show me your thumbs for this incredibly serious and important episode of Star Trek Voyager that started with me laughing to the point of crying and struggling to maintain myself. Okay, it's a thumbs up for Mortal Coil. That's fine. Go, Neelix, go. Season 4, episode 13, Waking Moments. Chakotay must stay awake to lead an attack against a species that lives in the dreams of the Voyager crew. I can't think of anything more exciting. Staniel, what waking moments are you having with regard to this episode?
My waking moments are fleeting at this point, but what I will say about this episode is pretty cool concept, kind of been done before, like this kind of was and is. I think even an original series, definitely Next Generation, there was a Deep Space Nine adjacent episode that had an adjacent storyline to this. It's Chakotay, so it's begging to be a thumbs down just for that reason. And like we've talked it to death, the problematic nature of the character and his creation, but we have that aspect of his character coming up, and like and my space native people can control our dreams, and like, oh sure, okay, fine. But then this, like, he needs to, it falls apart for me when he needs an image to tell him that he's dreaming, and this Akuchi moron who works in space picks a moon.
How long have you been sitting on that?
To be, I wrote it down like 20 minutes ago. The first time somebody said Akuchi Moya, and I was like, write it down.
Amuna Matata.
Yeah, exactly. But yes, clock it, Matt. That is fair. But like, seriously, he, like, if you're gonna do it, like, why the fuck? Like, I work in space. I'm not gonna pick a moon to tell me I'm asleep on my starship. Like, come on. It's a down. It's a cool concept, but like it's been done, and it's Chakotay, and like it
should have.
Isn't this Inception?
Yeah.
With the top.
Yeah. Well, there are no tops on Voyager, but yes.
Except for Janeway. He should have he should have picked a female writer, because God knows he wasn't going to see one of those on this show.
I didn't like it.
I have nothing to say. This episode sucks.
Can I be honest? I fell asleep.
Period.
Ironically, we all did.
How did you know you were asleep, Krista? What did you see?
She saw the moon.
I woke up and then I went like this and realized I was awake.
She knew she was asleep because it was a better place than watching what she was watching.
And then it all turned black, and then I woke up and I was 8. Little butterflies.
I had a dream that this was a better episode. So
do you mean Waking Moments or this episode of the?
I mean, well, no, I love this. Is fun. I'm pretty drunk, but yeah, I'm having a great time.
Same.
Yeah.
That's the objective.
Everybody tap your hand 3 times, please.
Wait, no, I'm gonna
Plex. Go ahead and plex.
I'm plexing.
Do whatever you need to do to wake up. And
I gotta play with Chris.
We voted down for this, right? This was.
Okay, absolutely down.
And then some, yeah.
Hey, everybody, we're at Blue Alert, please. Blue Alert stations.
Suddenly there are.
Wow. Sorry.
Where is my station? Where is my Blue Alert station?
So for season 4, part 1, we had 3 thumbs ups, 5 thumbs sidewayses, and 5 thumbs downs. So technically, we rated this worse than season 3.2. Anyway, it's off to a rough start. There were 9 problematic gay alerts. There was 1 problematic ally alert. There were 2 explosive saucer separations. There was 1 Kenwell actually, and it pains me to say that Stan landed a segue 6 fucking times. I don't know how that happened. It happened. Just kidding. I know exactly how it happened. I gave 69 million bonus points to Will for always finishing. I gave 21,000 bonus points to Krista for bemoaning the boning. I gave 1 billion bonus points to Joanne for including us in a family conversation. I gave 5,000 bonus points to Matt for abiding by the scientific method. I gave him an additional 50 bonus points for the octave change on the word I. I gave 74,656 bonus points to Alfred Woodard for not saving the episode we all know you could have saved. I gave 3,000 bonus points to Stan's brain for taking it like a champ and apparently doing it all for the segues. And last but not least, I gave a cajillion bonus points to Jennifer Lean for working and entertaining us while living through crisis, something no one should have to do. So thank you for creating a beautiful character, and we wish you well wherever you are, you beautiful human.
Thank you all very much. Thank you to our friends in the chat. We are at Salon Trek everywhere, and we will be back not this Thursday, but next Thursday at our regular time and day, 6:30 p.m. Pacific, at Salon Trek on YouTube, all the podcast places the next day. We will also be back, Will and I, in the Delta Quadrant, serving up the C word. I'm trying to be able to promote this episode. I haven't been able to for a while.
Crustaceans?
Fuck Rick Burton and fuck Rick Berman.
Krispy Kreme.
Yes, crustaceans and Krispy Kremes. And pizza crusts. Also, I'm being bombarded on my group chat from the wedding that I just went to over at EDC weekend. Next year it's going to be 2 weekends and I might die. So please enjoy the salon whilst you can for the next 12 months. And there was something else. On Monday, Will and I will be back in the Delta Quadrant serving kit and crustaceans. Playing Star Trek Voyager Across the Unknown. And not this Monday, but the following Monday, It is confirmed today. We will be joined by friend of the pod, Star Trek Voyager novelist and Star Trek television writer Kirsten Beyer. Will be serving whatever she chooses to serve in the Delta Quadrant, with Will and I playing Across the Unknown. Not this Monday, but Monday, June 1st.
We're squashing the beef, people. We're squashing the beef. Me and Kirsten Beyer were squashing beef. She didn't know
She's
she
here for
bought
Pride
it.
Month.
Guess what?
What you're saying is that you're going to kill Chakotay with her. It's
Hey,
exactly.
We started with Tuvok. Chakotay's number is up.
Chakotay?
Have we settled on Chakotay?
Chikuchi.
Chipotle.
I think we could go with that. As well.
Chipotle, your time is numbered.
Bye, y'all.
And until next week, Akuchi Moya and live long and prosper at Salon.
All hands abandon ship. Proceed to the nearest evacuation zone immediately.
Well done. Janeway out.